You're now warping in to Fine Time.
Hello, party people. It's your boy Dre. Hello, music people. It's also, once again, my boy Evan. That was so loud. I can't play that. It's gonna be an editing nightmare. Oh my lord!
It did not need to be that way.
That was. I'm gonna keep it. If you jump scared anyone off this podcast, if the numbers go down, I'm gonna blame you.
I chose violence.
You chose something, all right. Well, we're here once again. Our third volume of Overrated, Underrated, Properly Rated. If you haven't heard our other two episodes, basically how this goes is this is a game that we like to play amongst each other where we just throw a song at each other. Something throughout history, something that was popular from past, present, or I guess it can't be future because we don't know future music. But, and then we talk about whether that song is underrated, overrated, or properly rated. And we don't know the songs that we're going to say to each other in advance. They're completely secret from each other. So when we say them, we're hearing them for the first time to each other's ears. Of course, we will put together a Spotify and Tidal playlist that will be in the description of this podcast. Go ahead and check it out right now if you want to listen along with the show, if you will, if you're not as well versed in these songs as we are. And I think that's it. Yeah, check it out and listen along. And I guess we're just going to get started right now.
All right, let's go with No Ordinary Love by Sade.
Oh my fucking God. You're coming out
Boom.
Swinging. Oh, yeah. Man, I think No Ordinary Love is properly rated and properly rated as the absolute titan, the total classic that it is. I think it was last episode where we talked about Michael Bolton, right? You gave me a Michael Bolton song.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about that era of like schmaltzy, like early 90s, late 80s, like balladry and like, all the white guys like Kenny G, John Tesh, whatever the fuck they were doing, right? I feel like Sade was like, hear me out, almost in that category, but like actually like really great music. You know what I mean? Imagine if that music was like good.
Right. Without the cheese factor.
Yeah, without the cheese factor, not cheesy, but like a legit, like, man, when that song came out, it sounded like 1992. It didn't sound like it belonged to any other era. It sounded timely, but it's also so fucking smooth, so well put together. Just the vibes are immaculate, as the kids might say today, right? Like, No Ordinary Love is just, it's kind of perfect.
Yeah,
I think. So I'm going to say, yeah, sexy. I'm going to say properly rated. Go ahead.
Okay. So like, I feel like I'm going to go with a little underrated. I'm only going to say it's underrated because I think it gets overshadowed by Smooth Operator. And I don't think it should be. I like Smooth Operator. I do. I think it's also a great song. But I feel like people are going to be quicker to jump to Smooth Operator than they would be No Ordinary Love. I think you had a greater chance of maybe missing out on No Ordinary Love. And I wonder if like some of our audience, if they're like No Ordinary Love, Sade, like, I don't know if I know that song. I feel like they're going to press play and most likely they're going to know that song. But I feel like if, we're talking Smooth Operator just by title, I feel like they're going to go, oh, I know that song.
Yeah. But I think like, if people were to hear No Ordinary Love, I think they would know it right away. I don't think like I don't think that's a song that people don't know.
yeah, it's not like a hidden gem. I mean, it was a hit, definitely, but I don't know that it gets its full due. It is, I will say this, it goes longer than I listened to it recently, and I was like, this song goes a little longer than I remember it going.
Yeah, I think Love Deluxe is only like 9 songs. So like, they kind of, it's not that all of them are super long, but they definitely take their time.
They do. Yeah. So I hope you took your gas station dick pills if you're going to be, throwing on the Sade, because
oh man,
she expects the best out of you.
You better get the one with 2 rhinos on the box. Yeah, and you're right. We expect the best out of you too. So go for it. When you put on that song and you are love making, make the most of it. Make Sade proud. Okay, yeah. No Ordinary Love, properly rated, a little underrated for you. All right, I thought I was going to come out the gate swinging, but you hit me with Ordinary Love, so I think I need to counter you here with something obviously great, and I know you think the song's great, but placing it in history is another thing. I want to ask you about Seal, Crazy.
Ooh. Wow, okay. Yeah, sometimes placing his songs can be a little bit tough because he's got the really strong visibility, I mean, I feel like everybody knows the Seal songs, but there's so many good ones that it's kind of like separating out like which ones you think are the absolute, top tier. Do
you mind if I give you my opinion first? I think this song I think this song is underrated, and I think it's massively underrated. I think this song kicked off the 90s in a way that shaped it more than people might think about. I think it's actually like a really important song, and I don't think it's thought about that way. So I'm going to say like underrated, and by a lot.
Yeah, I feel like my inclination is to agree with that, because so it can be a difference maker for me if I label something underrated or not. I think sometimes, not all the time, it can be if like the gravitational pull of other songs like just pulls people towards that artist like in a bigger direction, like and I think when you start talking Seal, people immediately go to, Kiss from a Rose and maybe Prayer for the Dying, and
they'll definitely go to songs from that second record.
Yeah, and those are so anthemic, right? But like, how do you really get to that sophomore record, without what comes before it? Like you can't land there if you don't have a good foundation typically. I'm not saying that you never land in a space where like the second record just, I mean, people talk about the sophomore slump, pretty frequently, of course. So like often, people have a much stronger debut and then land in a, weaker sophomore slump. But sometimes too, you've really learned and honed your craft and you've really made good use of that first record. And, and to have a song, like Crazy, I think really sets you up for that later success. And like you said, I don't know if people are giving that enough credit for, kind of being the influencer that it is. So I think I would have to agree on this one.
Yeah, I just think, man, it's so it hits deep for me, this song. I've never really known why. Ever since I was a kid, it's always hit me in a place that made me feel indescribable. I can't even describe it now. I'm 42 years old now, and I still can't. I don't have the words, just because I think this song is that special to me. Maybe it's just me, but like, I really do feel like this song and songs like it, like, that's the 90s, man. Because if you think about 1990, you still have stuff that's very much the 80s, whether it's like, Warrant is out here with like, still having hits, and like Def Leppard and whatever, right? Still have all that stuff. just because the clock hits January 1st, 1990 does not mean, everything just changes overnight.
The 80s are done. No more metal.
No more. No more drum machines ever.
Everybody put their leather pants away on January 1st of 1990.
I'm imagining
it was just flannel.
Instead of Gorbachev take down this wall, it's Taylor Dane take off that makeup or something. Like
I thought you were going to say take off your pants, because I was going with the leather pants, and I was just like, bro, let's not get us canceled.
I'm not trying to get me too'd on Fine Time. Okay, don't put me there. But no, I like, in all seriousness, I think Seal. I don't know if it was his first single. It's definitely from his first record. I think it's a super duper duper important song, and it hits the times in a way that's quite frankly magical. I wish I had a better term than that. So I think it's way underrated.
I would agree with that. That's a firm and hearty agreement from me. All right. Okay, I feel like we need one more kind of with these vibes. So let's go with Mandolin Rain by Bruce Hornsby.
Oh, yeah. This is a great song. This is a great song. I've heard the song a lot growing up because my mom, if she is anything first, she is a boomer. And women boomers love that soft rock shit, baby. I know your mom did too, probably. Like that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Rod Stewart and Michael Bolton and Bruce Hornsby and all of it.
Oh my God. My mom hella liked Bruce Hornsby. And we had this tape in the tape deck, or what, not a tape deck. What is it called? Tape rack, where you just put all the things vertically, all the cassettes, I remember seeing that in there, and Mandolin Rain, one of my favorites, maybe my favorite Bruce Hornsby song, maybe, if I'm being honest. And you were talking with the last song about gravitational pull, the gravitational pull of Seal's other hits, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like this might happen to Mandolin Rain because of the juggernaut of, that just the way it is.
Yeah.
Right? And this is on the same record as that song. I'm going to say underrated. I just don't know how much underrated. I'm not going to go far. Okay, just slightly underrated, because I do hear it. I do hear it on, like, again, this is like the grocery store test or the elevator test. I do hear it around. It's not like I've never heard it since then. It's a known song, and it's still played here and there, so I can't go way under. But definitely underrated Mandolin Rain. What made you pick this? Do you mind if I ask? What made you pick Mandolin Rain?
I was just thinking of, like, how soft rock is one of those things that, you and I share. And I was like, what are some, like, soft rock bangers? And of course I was thinking of, one of our favorites. I'm not gonna drop it in there, in case we decide to play with that one for the future. But,
okay.
You might know what I'm talking about. But I was thinking of one, I was like, what might be a song that's kind of in this vein that I could think of? And so I started thinking of some of those artists, and I was like, oh, this is one that I haven't thought of in a while. Like, I wonder what Dre thinks about this one. Especially, of course, because, we've got, The Way It Is, I'm right. I mean, which I think that song was not only a number one hit on its own, but in addition to that, and it was popular on its own, but of course, it gets even more visibility from being sampled in, Tupac's Changes.
Yeah.
And so it gets, like, a lot of recognizability that even crosses genres. And so I think that definitely it's going to naturally overshadow Mandolin Rain, which I think is really unfortunate, because I think Mandolin Rain has just such a beautiful vibe. It's kind of melancholic, and it's got more amazing Bruce Hornsby piano.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely gorgeous. Like, what an amazing, like, pop pianist. Like, you think of, like, pop pianists, and, like, there's definitely some people that just absolutely destroy. Like, Stevie Wonder, right? Like, you get him behind a piano, like he just knows what to do.
It. Yeah,
it's done, right?
It's over.
You throw Bruce Hornsby behind a piano, and it's like we're getting hits. Like that's just what's going to happen, and this is proof. And I feel like it's going to get overshadowed, and I can't even blame it for being overshadowed, but it is a little underrated, I think, because of that.
It looks like Mandolin Rain hit number 4 on Billboard. So top 5 hit we're talking about here, but it's the single after The Way It Is. So, I don't know, man. In history, though, it's definitely underrated for sure. But like I said, not massively. Again, I do hear it here and there. It's not like I've never heard it ever again on what we might call recurrent radio, right? If you're listening to... I really hesitate saying the oldie station now because that's us. But that's us. So like, if we're going to listen to a song that's playing a radio station rather that's playing the hits of yesteryear, we might hear Mandolin Rain. So it's very possible. But yeah, slightly underrated. Okay, you know what? I want to ask you a real basic bitch song, okay? It's just like a song everybody has heard a million times, okay? Because again, I feel like those sometimes are like the hardest to evaluate. So I want to ask you about Nirvana, In Bloom. Overrated, okay. Underrated, properly rated, In Bloom.
My gut instinct is to say underrated.
Me too.
Because I'm I feel like I was really hoping. I'm like, please God, don't fucking say Smells Like Teen Spirit.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm
like,
you.
That's just annoying, right?
I would never do that to you. Please.
It's iconic. It's like it's gonna make top 10 lists for all the obvious reasons, like Sgt. Pepper. Like let's rate Hotel California.
No,
like,
I would never.
Off.
I ain't doing that. No,
I was
you have
like,
every
please.
right. We don't have a fuck off clause on over under proper, but I would let you invoke that if I said Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Just aggressive fart sound effects.
No, but In Bloom, direction. I wanted to. Okay, the reason why I'm asking about In Bloom is because it was like the umpteenth single off of this record, right? And in retrospect, it doesn't really matter. Everyone knows every song on this album. So that aspect of it doesn't really matter. But at the time, I feel like it was one of those songs where, maybe it wasn't on the radio yet, but it's like the second song on the record and the first song of Smells Like Teen Spirit. Everyone knew what In Bloom was. Well, before there was a video. Hey, do you remember the video, by the way? It's like it's almost like a 50s, it's almost like the Ed Sullivan Show or something.
Oh,
it's
they're wearing, that's right. They're like the sweaters and
they're playing.
Yeah, that's right.
They look hella nerdy or something. Yeah, and like the crowd, they keep showing crowd shots of people going crazy. Yeah, I love that video. And I thought that was very fitting. It's, they always like the irony of what, we're really this popular, so they probably did a video like that. But yeah, do you think in the pantheon of Nevermind, okay, you know what? Let me put it this way. If you're making a top 5 songs of Nevermind, is In Bloom in there?
I feel like it would be. It would be for me.
I think it would be for me too.
I feel like for me, I've got to put Drain You up there. That's that's definitely in my list.
Me too.
I feel like I have to put Something in the Way on there.
Okay. I would not.
I would put Breed in there.
That's borderline. That's so borderline for me.
I don't know. Yeah. I feel like I might.
That's tough.
I don't know.
Would you put Territorial Pissings?
Oh man. Okay. Shoot. I'm running out of songs. It's one of the most iconic records of all time. That's what happens. Of course.
I would for sure.
That's right.
But, okay. The reason why I ask you this is because maybe that's the best way to think about it. Just in terms of this Titanic record, could you possibly say anything is underrated? Because I'm not sure that you can. I think I would say In Bloom is properly rated, but on the scale of what? We're talking about God here.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for me, the way that I approach that is I think we have to almost view it as singles. Like, I'm evaluating this against other Nevermind singles. I can't be really rating it, I guess, objectively in this the scale of like Nevermind. I hesitate to say deep cuts, because what's a deep cut on like one of the most influential records of all time? But like, still, you know, I think there are people who like probably only know the singles, you know, and maybe they didn't bother to actually pick up the record or listen to it or whatnot. So if we're just talking like the big hit singles, and we've got Smells Like Teen Spirit, obviously. We've got In Bloom. We have Come As You Are, you know, and so I feel like when we're looking at some of just even those songs, I feel like Smells Like Teen Spirit and Come As You Are both, and we also have Lithium, of course, right? I feel like all three of those are going to come in stacked higher in terms of visibility and in terms of like impact above In Bloom. But I don't feel like they should, not because I feel like, I don't know, it's a really tough one. I feel like personally, In Bloom is such an actual like Nirvana song. Let me back up. I think this is important. I think this is really essential to why I personally view this as underrated.
Okay.
If you fuck with this band, if you've been riding with them, you know, we hear Bleach, and like Bleach is like a really, you know, dirty like punk record. I mean, basically that's kind of what grunge really is in a lot of ways. It's like punk that's been thrown into a blender with a bunch of like gravel and like, you know, like working class poverty and like, you know, and like with the sort of a Northwest kind of tilt, and like you end up with this sludge. And Bleach really has that. But one of the things they think Nirvana gets underrated on sometimes is like their sense of humor. And it's like a caustic kind of like, fuck you, like you're not part of the joke. Like in our last episode, we talked about like Not Like Us, and Not Like Us has the brazen, brash hip hop bravado. Like hip hop thrives on like bravado and like, you know, we are fucking here. And this sort of thing that Kurt and his crew were embodying was a little bit more like Daria, like a little more like dry and sarcastic, and like, you're too fucking dumb to even know we're making fun of you. And I think like, if anything embodies that in a popular sort of way, it's the song that literally has a chorus, you know, he's the one who likes all our pretty songs and he likes to sing along, but he don't know what it means.
Yes, and he likes to shoot his gun.
Likes to shoot his gun, like, oh yeah, you're so fucking macho and you love our hit songs, but like, also, here's 2 middle fingers and you're going to be so busy getting drunk and crowd surfing and like, yeah, Nirvana, that you're not even going to pick up on the fact that we're basically saying fuck you in the song.
That's also Rape Me, isn't it? From In Utero. That's also what Rape Me is about, almost, because it's like, okay, fuck you. I'm going to make a song called Rape Me. Like, I'm going to make that strong of a, like, you know, lyric, and you still won't get it. You still won't fucking get it.
Well, one of my favorite things about In Utero is that it fucking starts out with Serve the Servants, which is like the first line on the fucking record is teenage angst has paid off well. Like, if there is not a more like sort of like, like, that's funny. That's one of the funniest fucking lines. And like, you have to be in on it to get it. And so for me, that particularly resonates. And the fact that I think so many people like, they missed it. You know, that's a thing to me that like makes that quintessentially Nirvana. But I think when people think of quintessential Nirvana songs from Nevermind, they're going to go to Lithium, you know, they're going to go to Smells Like Teen Spirit, they're going to go to Come As You Are. And I think this might kind of be an afterthought, as much as it could be an afterthought on one of the most impactful records of all time.
Yeah, it's like what you said earlier, when your deep cut is like Lounge Act or something, like get out of here. When your deep cut is Stay Away, like what are you talking about here? You know, like, it's just everyone. I mean, okay, I haven't heard Nevermind in a very long time. When I just said those 2 songs, I recall them instantly. I know exactly what they sound like. There's nothing is lost there. It's imprinted on probably anyone our age's mind. So yeah, I think you convinced me. I think it might be underrated. I did say properly rated just because I'm like, I don't see how any song from this record could be, which is why I brought it up. But yeah, I think I'm on your side now. I'm going to say underrated, but not much. But yeah, considering what we're talking about, we're grading on a curve here. It is underrated.
Okay. I'm going to go with Nine Inch Nails, Closer.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I have thoughts here. That's why I was like, yeah, I'm going with
this is tough. Not just because it's popular. I mean, the tough songs are popular as we said. I'm going to say overrated. And that's not because Closer is a bad song. It's almost like what we talked about last episode with The One I Love, the REM song, where it's like sometimes their songs can be so ubiquitous. Like if you were to say to me Losing My Religion, I might just immediately say overrated, and I just can't get past how popular that was and how played it was. Overplayed even. Closer was never that level of popular because of listen to it. Nothing that sounds like that, and nothing with that refrain can ever be that popular, right? It's like a rated R movie where it's like, yeah, you're going to have some big business, but it's not going to do as big as the Avengers because not everyone can go see that, right? So man, I'm really struggling with this one. Yeah, overrated, but not by a whole lot. When I'm thinking of the Downward Spiral, I think of its place in the record. There's 14 songs. Closer is number 5. It's not smack dab in the middle, but it definitely feels like the centerpiece of the record, doesn't it? Somehow. Am I off on that? Like, some people might say, Hurt is the last song, and this is another conversation. I've never been a big fan of Hurt, but that ends the record, and it should. But during this period, I really like the fast, nasty stuff because that's what I like. Because we both like Deftones. I like the fast, sludgy, nonsense, right? Like rats, or that's my jam, right? And in this case, with me saying that, do you know my favorite song from Downward Spiral?
Big Man with a Gun?
It's that's like top 3. It's definitely March of the Pigs.
Oh, okay, sure, okay.
That is my favorite. See, I love that shit. So when I think of this record, I think of that. But besides that, Closer as just a hit single that it was, on MTV, and they had a video that, they could barely get on TV,
Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Well, I mean, everyone's seen the video. They have parts where it says censored. That's not for effect. That's literally them censoring the video so they could get it on TV. So that wasn't just a thing they did. Yeah, I'm going to say Closer isn't one of my favorite songs, but I think I'm guessing that you think more of the song than I do.
Interesting. Okay, so I don't actually. So I also wrote this as overrated, somewhat for, I think, maybe, I wouldn't say vastly different reasons, but I think the meat and potatoes of why I thought this was a little overrated was sort of in more of the Nine Inch Nails view, which for me, if I look at what came before and kind of what came after, I feel like for me that there are, kind of, I think, weightier songs, heftier, big, sexy singles that I think slap harder than Closer. So for me, when we're looking at, Pretty Hate Machine, I think we've got stuff like Head Like a Hole, of course, as you mentioned. And then when we go to the Fragile, I think we've got Into the Void. And so I feel like for me, both of those are they hit with heavier, weight class than Closer, which is not a diss on Closer, But unfortunately, one thing that doesn't do Closer any favors for me personally is, kind of as we were like talking about like The One I Love and, in our last episode, and we were talking about, from REM, and, and I referenced how like a lot of media literacy is like not the world's best, when it comes to like, some of these songs like Good Riddance, Green Day, that's obviously one of the ones that we have to talk about.
Right.
When we get to Closer by Nine Inch Nails, there's so many people who really love to view that song as just like sort of hot and like transgressively sexy. Like, I feel like that's sort of the like anthemic song for like sort of like the folks. I'm not saying this is like a gatekeeper to be like a douchebag of like name 3 singles or like name the bassist's cousin or whatever. Like, but you're folks who like to like, your gals who like to throw on some like fishnets and maybe cosplay like sort of goth industry a little bit. And the guys who like to do the same thing or like, oh yeah, like Closer, that's really sexy or whatever. And it's like, I don't think you understand this song.
You really don't. The song is disgusting.
Yeah, it's this is like, this is a dude who was like really like not doing well, who is like this sexual connection that's like not really healthy that I'm expressing with you is one of the few tenuous threads that's connecting me to like sort of my humanity and or maybe my spirituality. And like, I'm not happy about that because I shouldn't be, because this is a reflection of like an unhealthy psyche. But like, then you have a lot of people who are just like, that's hot. And it's like, no, yeah. Paris Hilton.
No, it's not. It is not hot.
It is not hot.
We were talking about, I mentioned Closer as the centerpiece of the record. Into the Void, as you mentioned, that is the centerpiece of the Fragile. I mean, it's a leitmotif throughout the entire record, not just the song. So like snatches of that song just appear throughout the entire thing.
Absolutely.
So that is the center. And if we want to talk about centerpiece things, it doesn't get better than that.
They do that to at least to Closer's like, credit. They do the same thing with that, with some of the piano, the little warbly, like, piece at the end of that song. Mm-hmm. They use that, in a few spots, like in Piggy, for example. And, and I love that. I love how they do that. And I would actually agree that I think, Closer is also kind of the centerpiece because it's a downward spiral of this person who like is descending sort of almost like Dante's Inferno style into like the deepest circles of hell. And so, we're kind of like in this sort of juncture point where like this person is like, can they be saved? Are they maybe going to like sort of become normal and like get to therapy, or is like shit going to get worse? And like, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't heard the downward spiral, but like the title implies, it gets worse.
Yes. The downward spiral is real. Yeah. So I think Overrated to a degree, but not by much. I do like Closer. I don't want it to sound like I don't like the song. It's just that, and
it's so well produced.
Yeah, he couldn't have done it better.
Yeah.
Oh, I love, you know what? I think I'll say this before we move on. I think the drum machine, I think the drum programming, especially at the beginning, I think on that song really like, ooh, that is really good. I think that's like one of the best musical moments on the record. So like I'll say that for it if anything else. But yeah, Overrated nonetheless. This is another song that I know you like. But again, I wanna do these because I just think they're interesting to talk about. So I want to ask you about Lenny Kravitz. It Ain't Over Till It's Over.
Ooh.
Overrated, underrated, properly rated. It ain't over till it's over.
Damn. I really like this song. I like you. You're absolutely right. I love this song.
Yeah. And I do too. So
I'm going to say properly rated though.
Okay.
I am. But I think it's properly rated as a solid song. I don't know. I'm on the fence between properly rated and maybe slightly underrated, but I feel like for me, my gut instinct is like, there's a song that comes to mind, and I don't want to say it.
Okay.
But there is a Lenny Kravitz song that comes to mind that I think is underrated. That's a hit. But it's not this one.
Okay.
So for me, I feel like, and that's an easier litmus test. I can go, no, that's an underrated song. But this one though, I feel like people like this song, and I think it's one of his, more visible songs.
Yeah.
A lot of Lenny Kravitz's songs they're evocative of like older vibes. Like they're kind of callback songs, right? Like we have one of his biggest songs is a cover of the Guess Who's American Woman, right? And then,
which is like the perfect song for him to cover. Cause it's like, if you think of anybody, it's like, yeah, of course he's going to cover that. Right. Like that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. And then we've got like, Are You Gonna Go My Way, which is like, it's kind of got some almost like Hendrixy kind of like vibes in some spots. If Hendrix was a little focused more, I think, on just like straightforward pop, but it's got some of that like confidence, and it's got the cool factor.
Yeah. Overrated for me, but yeah.
but it kind of evokes back into that kind of vibe. And so then we get to like, it ain't over when it, until it's over. And that also really just takes you right back, sort of like almost like the main musical hook, is straight up like almost like a Motown riff. I don't know. I almost am like, was it sampled? Was that like a Motown sample?
See, that's what I want to ask you about. So I've told you this before. When I was a kid, I thought that was an old song. I did not know that was a new song. I just heard it on the radio, and I thought it was a song from the 70s or whatever, because I didn't know any better.
If you told me that was some Berry Gordy jam, I'd be like, all right, sure.
Yeah, like I had no clue, like, so, but that's what I thought. And that's kind of why I don't usually ding songs for this, even though I love the song too, by the way. I love it just as much as you do. I love this song. But the reason why I can't say underrated is because of how incredibly derivative it is, I think, just because it's so trying to be that era. And look, he achieves it. Okay, there's a lot of people who try to do music from the past, if you will. Let's face it, there's a lot of like synthwave artists and stuff like that who are trying to sound like the 80s, and it's like, dog, the 80s don't sound like this. Like, and maybe you're just doing something else, and that's fine, but there's no authenticity here, right? And you don't have to have any, right? That's fine. That's not the case with It Ain't Over Till It's Over. That shit sounds like 1973 or whatever.
It sure does.
Exactly. And he fucking did it. So in that regard, it's almost admirable, right? It's like a double-edged sword. It's like, this is so derivative, but also he pulled it off so perfectly that you can't help but like really admire it. And it was a big hit. Between those two things that I said, something bad about it, something good about it, I'm just going to say properly rated. I think those things cancel each other out, and we end up properly rated.
All right, perfect. The math, negative, times a negative equals a positive.
Yes, it does.
And next, I'm going to go with something a little different here. So, full disclosure on this song, I'm going to kind of introduce this one a little bit. This one for me, I was not familiar with until fairly recently.
Okay.
So that might kind of bias this a little bit, but in terms of how I view this, but this is Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult. I don't know if you're familiar with this one. This might be one you're not familiar with. I don't know.
I think I am, but I want to listen. Let me listen. I'm pretty sure that I am, though. I want to make sure. Let me make sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I do know this song, actually. And, it's almost like what we said about Bad to the Bone last episode of when we did this, is that it's such a classic rock song that's almost hard to argue with. I feel like a lot of those songs that still get played are played for a reason. And this is such a good song. I've never known the words though. I'm not sure that I knew it was called Godzilla. I think it was, I don't know. Like it's, you know, those kind of songs all blend together for me. Like, Inagata Davida or some bullshit, right? Like it's just where it like just doesn't matter. I'm also not really from that time. Neither of us are. We're old guys, but not that old, right? So, but
this ain't your granddad's rock.
not at all. Do you think so? Okay. I think this is one of their most well-known songs. Probably not like I probably sound stupid for saying this. Does Blue Oyster Cult have a signature song? Would you say that they have one?
Yeah, Don't Fear the Reaper.
Oh, Don't Fear
that's got to be.
Fuck it. See, I knew I was going to feel dumb for saying that. I knew it. I knew it. I knew they probably had some like God level tier hit that I just of course, Don't Fear the Reaper. What the fuck am I saying? Yes, of course.
It's because you feared the Reaper or the Reefer.
I feared the Reefer.
I feel like that's got to be one of the most commonly confused, you know, Reaper. Like, how many people thought this was like some sort of like, oh yeah, just like toke up, bro, wink.
Yeah, like they probably just made it. Hey, did you know it's really Reefer? You know, like one of those like urban myths. So this song is, I think it's from the late 70s, right? It's like from 77, 78. And I think like,
right.
I'm looking at it now, 77.
Okay.
So
perfect.
like, yeah, I think for that time period and judging it against their like sort of like cock rock peers, I think this is properly rated, and I think it deserves like the recurrent radio. Like I knew what it was, and if a song's older than us, it has to be played to some degree for us to know it. But you said you didn't really know about the song until recently.
Yeah, so this is just one of those that I feel like, I don't know how I missed it, but I did, and I almost felt like it was kind of criminal that I wasn't really familiar with this. Like, I feel like maybe I heard snippets of it, and I feel like maybe like you, I didn't really know the lyrics, like, or register, go Godzilla, like, so I feel like this has been around. Like, it wasn't the first time I ever heard it recently, but my wife's dad is a big Blue Oyster Cult fan.
Okay.
And they listened to records when she was a kid, and this is one of the kind of jams that she really remembers, and she introduced this to me, and she was like, yeah, it's not too often that I get to introduce you to different music and stuff. And, I've played through it a few times, here and there. And I'm just like, man, this song slaps. And I feel like while it is one of their signature songs, of course, I don't feel like it's big enough. Like, to me, I feel like this song should be bigger. And maybe it's just limited because it's fucking about Godzilla.
Yeah,
like how big can the song be when it's about Godzilla?
I don't know, man. I think it could be pretty big, especially in like the late 70s. I don't think we gave too much of a fuck. This is like, so are you saying this should be on the level of like Cheap Trick's Surrender or something? Or like, like one of those like huge, like, or I don't know, what's the big like Kiss song? I don't really know. I'm not very.
I want to rock all night.
Party
every day.
Do you think it should be on the level of like that?
Maybe like just a step below. I feel like it really hits me right. You know?
Yeah. See,
maybe if there's something that takes away from that, it's like the end where it's like, sometimes there's books or movies, because of media literacy being what it is, that like they spell out what the plot is. There's like a line near the end of the song where it's like, I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the song that well, but it's like something like, nature proves again and again, like the folly of man. It's like, it's literally like, we're stating the fucking theme here for us.
I understand, but
in case you need to pass the AP exam or whatever, like,
by the way,
yeah. But then when you have people that don't understand that The One I Love is like not a love song, like, there's like, how badly can I blame you if people aren't like, yeah, Godzilla, destroy Tokyo, man? And it's like, no, that's not the point.
That's
bro.
not the point. But yeah, I agree. I think I'll stick with properly rated. I think it's heard enough and it's played enough. I'm more familiar with Blue Oyster Cult stuff from the 80s. Like I like a lot of that stuff, especially like the mid 80s run when, the synthesizers get introduced and stuff. And I always like when the 70s band took to the 80s sound that way. And that's like kind of one of my favorite things. And like, I like a lot of their 80s stuff, especially Shooting Shark. I love Shooting. I named a Mario course Shooting Shark. Okay, that's how much I like that song. But yeah, as for Godzilla, properly rated for me. All right, we need to bring it back to our wheelhouse, okay? We need to get right in our pocket of love. I want you to tell me about Whitney Houston, So Emotional.
Ooh. Oh, man. That's a damn good one. I get so emotional every time I think of this song. I'm emotional right now.
I can't even. Nobody in the world has the pipes to do that. Like a bit of the chorus at the end. Ain't a funny one. Love can do. Like nobody can even like. Can Mariah even do that shit?
Oh man, Whitney was special.
Oh my god.
Like absolutely one of the greatest to ever do it.
I ask you about So Emotional because it's my favorite Whitney song. Personally.
Oh,
so okay. I like out of all her big hits, this is the jam for me.
She's one of those that has so many.
Yeah, right. And I love the guitar element of it. I love like the, it has like a little bit of that rock flavor, which was, popular to do in 1987, right? But yeah, has this ever like ranked high in your Whitney list, or is this just kind of like it's there?
I feel like for me personally, it's a bit more there, right? So like if we look through, kind of the Whitney Houston, singles discography, right? Like there's some real, bangers. Like we've got like How Will I Know?
Yeah, I think it's like her first single, of all. Right?
Yeah. I Want to Dance with Somebody, right?
Yeah.
Then we get So Emotional, and then of course we have like the '90s run, which I am just such an absolute like trailer tramp for I'm Your Baby Tonight.
Yeah, like, you love I'm Your Baby Tonight. Yeah,
to me that I don't know if that could be like overrated. Like I feel like that may be like my favorite Whitney song, but I will also admit that I'm biased that there are better songs.
It's a great song. I've always liked that song. It's so good.
But then also though, like if we take that out of that realm, we've got like My Name Is Not Susan, right? Of course, I Will Always Love You, the Dolly Parton cover. I'm Every Woman. I don't know if I could put like So Emotional against some of the top juggernauts of the 90s, like I'm Every Woman or My Name Is Not Susan, just those two. I'm going to leave my personal favorite out of the mix because that's unfair to even like, talk about it.
You're being biased. Yeah.
That's muddying the waters. We don't Fine Time Audience does not deserve that. We can't muddy
the waters with I'm Your Baby Tonight.
No, no, exactly. Right. Remember that song? What was the name of it? It's like the Where Do Broken Hearts Go? Like,
I know that one.
I don't know what the song. I mean, maybe it's what it's called. I can't remember. But it's literally Where Do Broken Hearts Go? Okay, that is actually the song.
Yeah, title. That's literally. I thought you were saying the name of the song. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but do you just not? So are you considering So Emotional just lower tier compared to those?
Yeah, I feel like it's in kind of the middle of the pack. Like it's not low tier, but it's also not like for me in the higher tier of like Whitney Houston hits. But I mean, she has so many absolutely epic hits that for it's a lesser artist that would be like some of the like the absolute best of their catalog. And for me, that the fact that we have like 20 songs easily that we could like rank out and they're all like chart toppers that everybody knows, that just speaks to the level of artist we're talking about here.
Okay,
but for me, I would say a little bit more middle of the pack. So I think, but to answer the question though, I think like, I'm trying to put myself in the headspace of like, how do other people maybe view this song? And like, do I think that like other people are like ranking it highly? I don't know that I would hear that. Like if we use the grocery store test, I don't know that like I'm going to hear So Emotional as much as, like some of those other songs that I mentioned.
See, I think we would. I think that's where you and I differ. I think we would.
Okay.
I think we would hear So Emotional. I think we're more I think we're more liable to hear So Emotional than I'm Your Baby Tonight.
Well, of course. I mean, yeah, that's but like would we say that we would hear that more than like The Greatest Love of All or I Want to Dance with Somebody?
I think we would hear them as much. I think we would hear them as much. And that's why I would say Properly Rated, despite this being like my favorite Whitney jam.
Mm-hmm.
I can't in my good mind say it's underrated. I mean, come on. It was such a smash. It was such a multi-format smash, crossover smash. Do we still say crossover when we talk about white people? Do we still say that? Or
I feel like it's fair to say that.
Okay. But yeah, crossover smash. Like, yeah, like, and everyone liked Whitney, you know? And so
if there's any kids listening to this, we'll just let them think that like it was a hit on like the country charts or something.
Yeah, that kind of crossover. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'll say Properly Rated. Will you as well?
I will say Properly Rated, but because I think that overall, I think that more people would just kind of view that in the middle tier of the category, and I think that's appropriate. Whereas I think you're saying it's Properly Rated as, you know, a bigger smash or like a bigger song in the Whitney Houston pantheon, then I think maybe I rate it. So I think we come to the same conclusion, but from fairly different angles of approach there. All right, I am going to go with Breaking the Girl by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Man. Okay, my inclination is to say Overrated because I don't like it. However, I'm not sure that a whole lot of people do either. Okay, yeah, it was a big enough hit. Don't get me wrong. Right? But like, man, I don't think the song's really that good. In my opinion, I think it's overrated. I don't know why this was such a big deal. It's not like in our a couple episodes ago where he talked about Danny California, where I was like, it's fine. It's slightly overrated. I can't believe it was that big a hit, but I do like Danny California. I don't like Breaking the Girl. So
okay, fair enough.
I don't know, man.
I always I'm not gonna lie, which is ironic given the next basic couple sentences I'm gonna say here. I'm not gonna lie, I love Red Hot Chili Peppers as kind of sort of vulnerable sides, because I feel like one of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, kind of brands that they have, they've got on one hand, they've got these like really goofy, funky, kind of like sexual songs, right? Like we've got like Suck My Kiss and Give It Away, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And, you know, on Blood Sugar Sex Magic, you know, they've got a song about like a naughty cop, like stopping them and then giving them a blowjob and shit like that. Like they do this outlandish, like sexual, goofy, funky kind of stuff on one hand, but then they do these songs where it's like, all right, I'm going to tell you about my trauma now, right? Like let's like, okay, we're going to do Under the Bridge and we're going to talk about like shooting up heroin on, you know, in the streets of Los Angeles. Like, okay, shit, you know? And I feel like we end up with some songs like that they do, like, and I feel like Breaking the Girl is one of those songs where, you know, we've got, and I don't know if it's autobiographical or not, but, you know, we've got, you know, our singer talking about, you know, raised by my dad, girl of the day, he was my man, that was the way. And it's like, you know, so he's talking about like relationship stuff and like linking it into his childhood. And I feel like I always respected that mode, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And you end up with other stuff like that, like I Could Have Lied, you know, which is why I said, hey, it's ironic that I'm not going to be lying when I say that I like this mode of them. Yeah. But they've got that mode. And I feel like this is one of those songs on a record that I think a lot of the singles were dominated by like that goofy, funky party kind of vibe, you know, with the exception being, you know, Under the Bridge, that I feel like this was a kind of a counterpoint to that I personally did like.
I think it's inexplicable that Under the Bridge was such a smash. I can't believe that song was so popular. And it's not that it doesn't deserve to be. It's just like one of those things like, I don't know why the song keeps coming up, but Losing My Religion, where it's like, how was this song a smash? It's like 5 minutes long. And it's like, it's kind of dreary and weird. And what is it even about? What does losing my religion even mean? It means whatever the fuck you want, because it was a #1 hit, right?
It means money.
Yeah, it means money in the fucking bank. And that's the thing about it, right? Like when people ask Michael Stipe about it, he's like, where did that lyric come from? He's like, I have no idea. I have no clue. Right. And because it's not really about anything, and he doesn't write about himself famously. So he's just like, I don't know. I just came up with it. And to contrast that with Breaking the Girl, where this seems really personal. I don't feel like Anthony Kiedis is a person to write lyrics about just whatever. I don't think he's that kind of dude. So in that respect, I do also respect it, but I just feels, I hate to say it, it just feels like trauma dumping. It doesn't feel like that.
Little B-side trauma dumping.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like when I want that from a song, I want to feel like I'm being led in on something. I feel like I was led in on something on Under the Bridge. I got a snapshot of whatever this dude's life is and him struggling with drug addiction. And I got a snapshot of that. Under the Bridge isn't like my favorite song either. I'm just saying that, like, I get it. Breaking the Girl just feels like very, man, can we talk about something else? You know,
it is also kind of sad sack too.
Yeah.
You know,
so I just, overrated for me, unfortunately.
Okay. I can see that. I still like the song, so I kind of I'm be cool leaving my rating where it is, but I can see that point, you know, and I think there are better songs even within that mode, but, you know, I do feel like it gets forgotten. But maybe you make a compelling argument that maybe there also are valid reasons for that.
All right, I'm going to give you one more before lightning round, okay? One more. And I want to give you the most ridiculous song I have on this list here. It is the most ridiculous song maybe ever recorded. And that is Falco's Rock Me Amadeus.
Okay, I had a ridiculous song that we didn't get to. It's on my list that I've been thinking about. And
okay.
Maybe we might have to save that for the next one.
Yeah, this is the most ridiculous thing I can personally give you right now is Rock Me Amadeus. And again, it might be the most ridiculous song of all time that I actually like. And that isn't like joke music or like stupid, like Weird Al or whatever. Like, you know, a real song, if you want to call it one. What do you think? Oh, overrated, underrated, properly rated Rock Me Amadeus.
Oh man, that's a tough one because I really love this song while I also acknowledge how like fucking goofy the vocal delivery is.
It's insane.
Like if I feel like if you didn't have the like, you know, I don't know. I feel like we're simultaneously like drunk, like, and also on cocaine. Like we got the double effect here. Like if you weren't like almost doing this like drunken cocaine like vocal delivery, I almost feel like the song's music is good enough that I'm sure it would have been a hit, but like, would it have stuck out so much? I don't know that it would have if it would have been a straightforward.
I'm going to say no, because when I was a kid, that's what, like, it was so weird to me. And my mom liked this song. That's why I heard it a lot. Whenever it came on, she would like turn it up, you know, it's like, oh yeah, Rock Me. I was like, I don't even know what Amadeus was. I didn't even know that was a person, right? Like I was just like, okay, but I loved this ridiculous song.
Yeah. And I think that like, it's one of those unique instances in vocals where like the vocal melody is almost also percussion. You know, like, you know,
yeah, it was like, what are you doing, bro?
Like, like it's not scat, but like it's like drunken scat. I don't know. It's really unique, and I feel like it wouldn't have been the same without that. But man, is it also cheesy? But it also has this like, you know, smoking hot like kind of guitar line too. Like it's a fantastic song, and I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It was definitely a hit, but I don't know. I don't feel like Falco had any other. I don't think Falco had like some other like huge bangers or anything like that.
Not here. Not in the United States. No.
So nothing that came close to that. So.
Well, this
is tough for me.
I think he was Austrian. And of course, so in Austria and Germany, like, you know, he had some big hits before Rock Me Amadeus, and I think in the UK as well. So he was just known in Europe. By the way, I've been exploring his discography lately. He has some really great records. He's actually like a really good album artist, if you can believe that. Like,
yeah, we might have to check those out.
Yeah. So, because as you know, he wrote one of our favorite songs, Der Kommissar. What is it called? Der Commissioner?
Yeah. The Commissar's in town.
Yeah. Don't turn around.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that, because I had that in my head, and I was like, oh, maybe we use that for another episode or whatever. That was a thing I was kind of keeping.
We do not roll that out, because I love talking about that song.
It can still come out, but that immediately came to mind because it's so obviously in the same vein. But
yeah, well, you can tell, like, because before you knew that, like, he had the original version of that song and the After the Fire version is a cover, the one that we know, right? Then it makes sense when you listen to that song. I always call it "Don't Turn Around." I can't help it. Yeah. Like, when you hear that song, it's like, of course that's a Falco song. Of fucking course it is. But yeah, "Rock Me Amadeus" is really not far off from that, and it is ridiculous, and I love it. It's so over the top. That's what I always say. If you're gonna be over the top, if you're gonna be ridiculous, go all the way. And "Rock Me Amadeus" goes all the way. I think it is properly rated because I think everyone feels this way about this song. I don't think it's forgotten about. You'll still hear it, you know, in like 80s mixes or whatever. It'll never go away, and it never deserves to go away. I think "Rock Me Amadeus" is properly rated.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to agree with that, because it's, you know, I think it got, you know, remember when like VH1 was doing all of those, like, you know, best songs of the 80s, and then also sometimes do like the, you know, shittiest like cheeseball songs ever. You know, they'd always have these lists, and I feel like that's one of those songs that makes like 5 lists simultaneously. And so a song like that is going to be both famous and infamous, and so and I feel like it really should be. So I'm gonna agree with you. I think this is properly rated.
All right, before we get out of here, a little lightning round, little quickies. I have another little batch from Kevin, and I'm going to unveil them. And if we feel like doing any of them, we can. If not, we can say fuck off, Kevin. So here we go. Looking now. Okay, he obviously couldn't have known we were doing this, but the first thing he has here is 9 Inch Nails, The Hand That Feeds. Overrated, underrated, properly rated. You know, I'm going to say slightly underrated, The Hand That Feeds. It was a proper big hit in its own right, and I think it deserved even just a little more. As popular as that song was, it was the big, you know, comeback for 9 Inch Nails, right, for the 2000s. I think it's better than people think it is, and people already think it's great. So underrated, just slightly.
Absolutely. I'm going to agree, because when I think of With Teeth, that was the big kind of like, hey, we're back, and it's damn good. And I love, like, there's a neat little synth breakdown in there, you know, with some good percussion, and it has its moments. But I think from that record, I think people, like, because of use in movies and other things like that, I think people really remember, like, Every Day is exactly the same. And that's great. That's a great song too. No knock on it.
It is
but
great.
I think people kind of sleep on, you know, The Hand That Feeds, and it just was kind of like, oh yeah, this is like the big lead single, and it is the big lead single, but it's also better than I think it gets credit for. So I'm going to agree on that.
For sure. It doesn't have lead single syndrome like we talked about in our first episode of this when we talked about Christina Aguilera's Dirty. Like, here's my lead single,
different.
bitch. Yeah, like, you know, that's not what The Hand That Feeds sounds like. So yeah. Okay, let's do one more that we have time for. Nelly Furtado's Promiscuous. Overrated, underrated, properly rated. Promiscuous. I feel like at the time I may have said, if you were to ask me like 10 years ago, I probably would have said overrated. like, you know me, I'm like a Timbaland slut. Like I'll, you know, like I love that record because of his production on it. I'm not even that big of a Nelly Furtado person, but honestly, looking back on it, Promiscuous, it deserved everything it got. That's a great song. I'm going to say properly rated.
Okay, so I'm gonna say overrated, but like not by much. And I also love Timbaland, and I also love that song. This is one of those records you and I went through together because I'm a huge fan of Loose. Loose is a fantastic record overall, beautiful record, and I feel like there's not only songs I like more on that record, but if we're looking at just like the big sexy hit singles that really rock the groove and rock the beat, like it's flirty, it's fun, I get why it's a hit, but also like Maneater is right there. And I feel like Maneater, like for me, like Maneater is even more like, you know, I rock this shit and you're going to want to go home with me at the end of the night. And I get that the vibe of Promiscuous is supposed to be a little more flirty, a little more equal. And you've got Timbaland playing a stronger vocal role on it. But I don't know that I like it more than Maneater. I feel like Maneater should be the top dog.
I definitely like Promiscuous more than Maneater. But you know me, I really like male female like relationship, like back and forth songs. I love that trick in pop music history. It'll always get me, whether it's the Human League's Don't You Want Me, right? Or whether it's Len's Steal My Sunshine, right? Like anything like that. I'm here for it. And Promiscuous is one of those. I love that motif. It'll never wear thin on me. So I think I like Promiscuous more than that. I just love the back and forth. It's snappy. It's fun. It's flirty. It's funny. It's just a great song. I really do like it. So yeah, for me, I will say properly rated. I have no problem with you saying overrated though. I totally get why you feel that way, especially you are a fan of this record. Like you said, you introduced me to it. I had only known Promiscuous. I had never listened to Loose. So, you know, and I'm glad I did. I like a lot of songs on that record, but yeah, Promiscuous properly rated for me.
Okay. Yeah. I love Say It Right probably the most out of the big singles, but I feel like it's only fair to stack up, you know, Promiscuous and Maneater because they're more of a similar vein of song. And I love when Timbaland jumps in sometimes with some of those like little support roles. He plays a stronger like co-lead role in Promiscuous, but I really love the end of Maneater. Almost said Manleader. Maneater, where he's like, I've been around the world, I never seen a girl like that. Like, it's simple and it's effective. And like, how cool to be able to like say like one little line and just make it be like a groove. And it's like, it's not like he's saying something incredibly poetic or anything like that. It's just, you are making an observation around the world about, you know, life. I've been around the world. I've never seen a girl like that. And it's like, wow, but you made that slap somehow. Like, how skilled.
Yeah, that back when Timbaland could do stuff like that. All right, I think that's it. We've covered enough songs for today. Thank you again, Evan, for joining me. Again, check the description of this podcast to listen along with our Spotify or Tidal playlist. Also, check the description for our links on social media. See you next time. Bye.